Good morning, students. How are you all? Are you all fine? Good. Students, so we have already started our chapter 6, that is combustion and flame. Okay? Then we have completed many topics from this chapter, and with that we will today start a new topic. Okay? But before that, you got some homeworks. So let's check the homework as usual. Okay? The first question you got was define ignition temperature. So you will define that in this way. The lowest point at which a substance starts burning or catches fire is called ignition temperature. Okay? Then the second question you got was what are inflammable substances? Okay? So the substances or the substance which have very low ignition temperature and can easily catch fire, okay, with a flame are called inflammable substances. Okay. Then your third question, what does a matchstick contains? Okay. So your answer will be a matchstick contains antimony trisulfide and potassium chlorate. Students, write the full form only if it comes in the exam. Don't go for the short forms. In the bracket you can, no ways you can write it. It's a plus point. But whenever you write in the answer, you just write the full form. Not go for the formula. Only formula. Okay. With full form you can write formula also. That is different thing. But don't go only for formula. So students, today we will go with the topic types of combustion. Okay, we have already dealt with what is combustion. Yes, then we have dealt with the reactions which occur in combustion. Yes, then we studied the conditions which are necessary for combustion. Okay, then we studied about ignition temperature, then we studied about matchstick, then we studied about the fire control. Okay, all these things we have already done. Now today we will go for types of combustion. Students, there are mainly three types of combustions. Okay, the first one is rapid combustion, then comes the spontaneous combustion, and then comes the explosion. Okay, all these three types of combustions share different characteristic features. All the three are different in some respect, and in the same way they are also similar in various aspects. So now we will see what are the characteristic features or what are the definitions of these types of combustions. Students, now we will see the characteristic features. So in the rapid type of combustion, what happens is, the best example we could give for this is a gas stove. You may have seen the gas stove when your mother brings a lighter or a matchstick, okay, near the burner, okay, of the gas stove, and there she turns on the knob. Then what happens? Suddenly the gas is on. Okay, suddenly the gas is on. So that sudden reaction, okay, that sudden cause of the flame, that is called rapid combustion. Okay, whenever a particular combustion, either it is of gas stove or some other, if it is produced, if a flame is produced suddenly, okay, very suddenly, very quickly, spontaneously, then it is known as rapid combustion. Okay, and if I tell you, when we burn wood, okay, when we burn wood or we burn coal, petroleum, all these things, the smoke is produced. But when we burn LPG, mostly that much of gas could not be produced. It is produced in a very least amount, and that is not even very much visible. Okay, that's why we say that in rapid combustion the gas is very least produced in least amount. Okay, then obviously it will produce heat and light. Okay, it produces heat. That's why we are able to get energy, or we are able to cook food on the gas stove. Yes, so it gives us heat. Okay, In the same way, it also gives us light. So these are the characteristic features of rapid combustion. Now come to spontaneous combustion. Okay. Spontaneous combustion and rapid combustion are almost same, but not same. Okay. In an example, we can take the forest fires. Okay. What happens when the forest fire occurs? In the very extreme heat of summer, the forest fires are produced, and when a particular tree catches fire, suddenly the fire spreads in a very less time to the whole forest. That is only known as forest fire. So that type of combustion, okay, which occurs spontaneously, one after the other, that is known as spontaneous combustion. Okay. So when we write the definition for spontaneous combustion, we can write like the type of combustion in which a substance is suddenly bursting into flame, okay, without any application of heat. Okay. The most important point here is the fire is caused after coming in contact of the air. Okay. We are not in the forest fire, we are not using any type of matchstick, we are not using any kind of lighter. Okay. Are we using? No, we are not using. So it is the sudden production of heat and light. Okay. When due to so much extreme heat of summer or some other sources, it happens like those places come in contact of air. Okay. And by coming in the contact of air, they suddenly cause flame, result in flame, and that flame produces heat and light. Okay. One more example I could give you here is of white phosphorus. Okay. We have learned that in the matchstick. Okay. In the matchstick, we are having matchstick inside a matchbox, and in the matchbox, in the sides, both the sides where we rub the matchstick, that contains what it contains? It contains white phosphorus. Okay. That contains white phosphorus. So that white phosphorus, if comes in contact with the air, it will generate flame. It will produce heat and light, and that type of combustion will be called as spontaneous combustion. Okay. Then now we will come to the third type, that is explosion. Okay. That is explosion. I can give you many examples here. Firecrackers which we burn in Diwali. Yes, all of you burn, right? So those firecrackers, then sudden bomb blast, okay, or any other burning of explosives, all these are the examples of explosion type of combustion. Okay. What happens here is sudden chemical reaction occurs. Okay. A sudden chemical reaction occurs. See, if you have burned the crackers, what you have seen? You bring an incense stick, or you take a candle, or take it near to the firecracker. Okay. Either it is a suppose you are taking it near the tiger bomb. Okay. All of you know what is tiger bomb? Yes. So if you take it near the tiger bomb, what happens? You suddenly see some type of spark comes out from the tiger bomb. Yes. A very little spark comes out, and then you just move yourself backwards, and then you hear a sudden blast sound coming out. Yes. So that is the sudden chemical reaction occurring there. When the lighted candle or the lighted incense stick comes in contact with the firecracker or the tiger bomb, what happens is there is a sudden chemical reaction between the tiger bomb and the lighted candle or the incense stick and the firecracker. Okay. So in that time, within that time, a sudden chemical reaction will occur there, and it will produce obviously heat, then it will produce light, and also it will produce sound. Okay. I suppose all of you know how hard the sound is of a firecracker. especially of bombs like Tiger bomb, Sutli bomb, etc. So obviously when the explosion occurs, okay, sound is produced. Okay, so here we can also see that very high gas is also produced. See, when we burn crackers, okay, especially during the Diwali time or the World Cup time, etc., when the firecrackers are burnt all around, what happens is we can see the cloudy atmosphere on top of us. Yes, cloudy atmosphere, not that cloudy which produces rain. I'm talking about that snowy atmosphere due to so much of smoke in the air that is produced. So that shows, that is the proof that when explosion occurs, very high amount of gas is produced. Okay, so that's all about rapid, spontaneous and explosion combustion. Now we will start the next topic from the same chapter, that is fire control. Okay, students, what do you mean by control? It means to keep something under our will. Okay, we will decide what happens, not happens, like that. So here today we are going to study about fire control. See, fire is of different types. Yes, we have studied different types of combustion. So we know that fire is of different types. Sometimes the fire could be a dangerous one. Sometimes a very general small kind of fire. Okay, anything it can. So it is very necessary to take some steps to have known some ideas by which we can control fire. Okay, because if fire is not controlled at the correct time, it can lead to great disasters. Okay, we have known many cases of fire explosions, okay, where many lives are gone away. Okay, it results in the deaths of many people, animals, human beings, etc. So it is very necessary to control fire. Students, we have already studied, okay, we have already discussed or studied about different conditions which are necessary for combustion. Okay, let's quickly revise what were they. First, it was presence of a combustible substance, that is fuel. Then presence of the supporter of combustion. What is the supporter of combustion? It is oxygen. Then at last, attainment of the ignition temperature. These were the conditions necessary for combustion. So fire can be controlled. Okay, now if we need to control fire or we need to control combustion, we have to remove any one of these conditions. If any one of these conditions are removed, we can control fire. Okay, that is what we come to know about fire control. Then we know that it can cause heavy destructions, okay, if it is not controlled in time. So for that we have fire stations. Okay, we have like police station, we get police. Okay, in the railway station we get trains. In the same way, in the fire stations, okay, we have certain aids to control fire. Okay, firemen work in fire stations. So there we go, and we have a helpline number for fire stations. Every city has its own, and there we can get help from the firemen in case of fire. Okay, so that is what fire station. And being a very responsible citizen, if we are a responsible citizen, we should always know these emergency helpline numbers. Okay, especially a fire station, police station, etc. We all should know it. So every city has its own number or helpline number for fire. Then there are various ways. Okay, there are various ways by which we can control fire. See, the very general step we take is, if there is a fire, we just put water. Okay, that is a very general rare case. Or we put sand. Okay, we put sand, we put water. Then if a person is burning, We just put a blanket around him. Yes, all these things we do. We have studied in our lower classes that if someone has catch fire, we should roll him or her on the ground, or we should put the blanket, these and that. Many ways we know. So now, what actually happens and what are the certain ways to control fire, we'll see. Whenever there is a fire, the first thing that comes in our mind is water. So yes, water is a very necessary step, or one of the way by which we can control fire. See students, water is generally used to extinguish fire, that we know. Okay, in the most of the cases water is helpful. And actually what water is doing is, it is reducing the temperature of the combustible material below its ignition temperature. See, when we heat a fuel, okay, in a way we heat fuel. Suppose we are burning fireplaces, like we are burning wood. What happens is, when we burn wood, wood becomes, what is the state of wood that time? So wood starts becoming hot. Okay, when we heat it or we provide it with certain kind of heat, okay, or fire, what happens is the temperature of the wood increases. Okay, the temperature of the wood increases, and at a point is reached where it reaches to its ignition temperature, and that time it will start burning. But when we put water in the burning wood, the temperature of the fuel, that is wood, is reduced. Okay, it becomes cooler, and when it becomes cooler, its ignition temperature becomes low. Okay, it again goes back to the same temperature as it was in the room temperature, and that's why heating of the fire is stopped. Okay, so this is what the principle behind extinguishing fire with water. Whenever we extinguish a fire with water, the temperature is lowered and the ignition temperature is reduced. Okay, so this is what the principle, and because of water, the spreading of the fire is also stopped. Okay, it prevents the fire from spreading. And also the thing is, when we pour water on the heating wood or any other fuel, what happens is, water vapors are produced. Okay, the cool water comes in contact with the hot fuel, and this reaction makes the production of water vapor. Okay, and because of the formation of water vapor, the supply of heat is cut down. Okay, and in that way fire is extinguished. So in this way water helps us to extinguish fire. But students, the thing is, water is a very good conductor of electricity, that we know. Yes. So all the type of fire cannot be extinguished using water. Okay, only some fires can be extinguished using water, especially the electric fire, the fire caused by electric circuits, short circuits, etc. We cannot provide it with water. It will make the fire to cause more instead of extinguishing. Okay, so water can also not be used for fires involving oil and petrol. Why we cannot use? Because oil is lighter than water. Okay, oil is lighter than water, or the petrol is lighter than water. And even if, okay, you may have seen the magicians and you may have seen the shows in which it is shown that on the oil, okay, there is a layer of water which is called emulsions, and there also the fire keeps on burning. So what is that? The principle behind that is the same. The oil or the petrol is very lighter than the water. So even on the surface of water, oil or petrol will keep on burning. Okay, so we cannot use there also. That's all about water. Now we'll go for the second one, that is CO2. CO2, that is carbon dioxide. Students, we have seen that water is not suitable for all the fires. So the fires for which water is not suitable, we use carbon dioxide. Okay, we use carbon dioxide for fires involving electric circuits, then oil, kerosene, petrol, etc. For all these kind of fires, we use carbon dioxide. Why we use carbon dioxide? Because see, we know that oxygen is the supporter of combustion. Without oxygen, a fire cannot take place. A combustion cannot take place. So, we need to cut off the supply of oxygen. And to cut off the supply of oxygen, we provide the atmosphere with carbon dioxide. Okay, carbon dioxide help in the removal of oxygen. Then why carbon dioxide helps in cutting off the supply? Because carbon dioxide is heavier than oxygen. The weight of carbon dioxide is more than oxygen. Okay, and you know, in the lower classes you have studied the story of a fat man and a thin man fighting for the bread. Then what happens? Who will win? Automatically the fat one will win because he has more power. So in the same way, CO2 is heavier than oxygen. So to cut off the supply of oxygen, we pour carbon dioxide. Okay. So the heavier one will win and the oxygen supply will be removed and the fire will be extinguished. Now students, you have heard about fire extinguishers. Have you heard? Yes. Fire extinguishers are a device. Okay, it is a kind of device. Whenever you go to hotels or you check out in the lodges or hotels or in the big buildings, okay, there you may find, or even in the schools, hospitals, everywhere you may find a fire box. Okay, red color box. Okay, so fire extinguishers are a very useful devices which helps us to extinguish fire. See, what happens is whenever the fire occurs, okay, small fires, maybe due to short circuits, okay, or maybe due to oil or something, what happens is we can use this fire extinguisher cylinder. And what is there in the cylinder? It contains carbon dioxide. Okay, it contains carbon dioxide and it is filled inside the cylinder in liquid form. It is filled inside the fire extinguisher cylinder in liquid form, and whenever there is fire, we just press the knob and we can release the carbon dioxide. Okay, and when the carbon dioxide comes out, it spreads in the same way like deodorants. Okay, what happens to deodorants? They are stored inside the cylinders, and whenever we press the knob, it spreads all around. It spreads all around. In the same way happens with the cylinder. Now what happens is it decreases the temperature of the fuel. It also decreases the temperature of the fuel, like water and other extinguishers. It also decreases the temperature of the fuel. Okay, and as soon as the temperature is decreased, ignition temperature will be reduced, and if the ignition temperature is reduced, automatically we will see that fire is extinguished. Okay, so nowadays alternative is used. Okay, alternative is used for CO2, like sodium bicarbonate is used or potassium bicarbonate is used, because whenever these will break down, they will produce carbon dioxide. So these are some of the alternatives used for the release of CO2. So this is what fire extinguisher is. I'll show you the picture that how it looks and what does it contain. See, this is a simple structure of the fire extinguishers. They are especially in red colors. Okay, there is here to just for your information, I have made it in different colors so that you may understand. But actually it is always in red color. Okay, because red color is highlighted everywhere. Okay, red color is a highlighted color and its wavelength is more, so that's why it is in red color mostly. Now you can see, okay, the outer covering, okay, the outer covering, that is known as cylinder. Okay, and high pressure cylinder is written there. Yes, that is the complete structure is known as a cylinder. It is a fire extinguisher cylinder. Okay, then inside that cylinder you can see a gas corner. Okay, you can see a gas corner from where the gas comes out, okay. Then you can also see in the downside water is filled, okay. You can see the water, okay. Then in that tube like structure, that tube is known as chiffon tube, okay. That tube is known as chiffon tube. Now you may wonder that why the water is present there, okay. Water is present there because we cannot simply store carbon dioxide in the liquid form, and we need it in the liquid form. That's why water is placed. See, you can see the divider, a line is there, okay, in the between. That is the divider between the gas corner and the water. But just to provide pressure to carbon dioxide or the gas, we are keeping the water in the downside, okay. Then you can see the chiffon tube. That tube, see, whenever we use straw, what happens? Straw goes towards the downside and we can take the liquid from the top side. In the same way, here also, because it is a pump, okay, because it is a pump and it has to be sprayed, so this tube helps us, okay, this tube helps us for the same. Then in the top side, you can see the safety cup, okay, you can see the safety cup. Now what is safety cup? See, safety cup is actually the knob like structure, okay, a knob like structure, a cap like structure which could be used in the emergency case, okay, and it helps the carbon dioxide to be airtight inside, okay. Then in the left side you can see the pipe like structure, okay, which is black colored here. That is the pipe like structure and it is known as discharge hose. Discharge hose. This discharge hose is nothing but the place or the area from where the carbon dioxide is released. Okay, the carbon dioxide comes out to the atmosphere, that is discharge hose. Then you can see the pressure gauge. Okay, you know what is pressure gauge? Pressure gauge is the instrument which measures the pressure. So you can see the pressure gauge. Okay, so that pressure gauge will measure the pressure and tell us what pressure it is and what is that. So that will help the fireman to use it. Then in the last you can see the spray nozzle. Okay, that is the outlet. Okay, that is the outlet from where the carbon dioxide will come out in the case of fire. So this is the structure for fire extinguisher. Okay, I hope you all are clear with the topic, and if you have any doubt, you can clear it. Clear? There are some more general methods. These are the main, okay. These are actually the main principles behind which all other extinguishers work. Even if we put the blanket around the person catching fire, then also we just cut the supply of oxygen there also. So all the fire extinguishing principles work under these three. So these are the main ways, these are the various ways by which we can control fire. Now it's time to do some work based on the today's topic. Okay. First question. Water releases dash to extinguish fire. What is that, students? It is nothing but water vapor. Then second one. CO2 is dash than oxygen. I gave you a story also and we learned today. Think of it. CO2 is heavier than oxygen. Okay, then third one. In fire extinguishers, CO2 gas is filled and stored under dash. High pressure. Okay. So, now it's the time for your home assignment. Now, these are some questions which you have to do it and show me. Okay. And in the next class, we'll discuss it also. But before that, you need to send me the homeworks. Okay. First question, what is the principle behind water extinguishing fire? Okay, you have to write the principle by which water extinguishes fire. Then second one, what is the role of CO2 in putting off fire? Role of CO2 you have to write. Then third one, what causes fire to spread? So these are the homework questions which you need to do it. So that's all for today. We'll meet in the next class with the new topic. Okay. Have a good day. Thank you.